Welcome to WP Coffee Talk with your podcast barista, Michelle Frechette, where we interview people in the WordPress community from all over the world. Every guest is asked the same questions, and every guest has wonderful and varied answers about their history and their hopes. Special thanks to our espresso level sponsors, Bluehost, WS Form, and Beaver Builder. And now, on with the show. Welcome to WP Coffee Talk. I'm your podcast barista, Michelle Frechette, serving up the WordPress stories from around the world. And today my guest is all the way over in the UK, welcoming Nathan Wrigley, who is the captain, cook, and bottle washer of WP Builds.
He's the entirety of it.
And the creative behind WP Tavern Jukebox as well. And I'm sure there's other things that you do, and we're going to dive into all of those things. But welcome, Nathan. It's good to have you here.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Love being on your show.
I've been on yours often enough. I don't know why I hadn't thought to ask you to be on mine before now.
Oh, it's very kind. Thank you.
I'm glad to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, my name's Nathan Wrigley, as you just said. I run a podcast for myself, if you know what I mean. So that is to say that it's a podcast that I set up with a friend of mine called David Wormsley. It's called WP Builds. You can Google it, and we feature interviews with people in the WordPress space. We also have live shows, which you are a very, very frequent guest on. But I also do another podcast for the WP Tavern, which is called Jukebox, and that is not mine. I do that for other people. Let's just put it that way. And so that's basically it. I used to make WordPress websites, but pivoted over to making content, and that's what I do now, basically.
So, point of correction: I am a frequent co-host, not a frequent.
What did I say? Did I say guest? Oh, that's so ridiculous because
I do so much work conversation for you behind the scenes.
Yeah, I know. And every time I fall into this pitfall. So just for context, Michelle is a co-host on the This Week in WordPress show, and I always slip into the word guest, and it's wrong. She's not, because you do a lot of work and you help me out a lot. So apologies. I am sorry.
No problem. It's just made me laugh right off. I'm like, we just had this conversation yesterday, Nathan.
Yeah, we did have this conversation yesterday, and I feel thoroughly ridiculous for stepping into that.
That's okay. It's okay. It's just funny. So I know you showed me your mug, but show everybody your mug and tell us about any story behind it.
Okay, so this is the mug, but basically this could be any mug. I don't really have a story, but I am a huge drinker of coffee. In fact, much more so than is probably healthy for me. I was thinking just the other day, I need to cut it down. I'm probably on, maybe it's not that much, I don't know, but I'm on about 6 of these a day. So it's probably about 3 pints of coffee. What I'm trying to pivot to, and I'm getting better at it, is not a mug, but a glass full of just water. And I'm trying to be a good person in the new year of 2024, and I'm trying to drink just water. But I do have an Ember mug, which is one of those fancy schmancy
keep it warm
Internet
mugs?
of Things mug, but I don't advise having it. I'll just stick with your ordinary mug. It's much better.
Well, I will show you my mug today. Is the Free Mom. I was turning the wrong way. Free Mom Hugs.
Nice.
From freemomhugs.org, and it is an organization for allyship for people in the LGBTQ plus community. And so
I have too many mugs, Michelle. Literally, I have about, honestly, maybe 40 or 50 mugs, and I probably only use about 5 of them because they're my favorites. I need to do a purge. But
I had over 150 of them.
Oh, okay. I'm a novice. What the heck?
Well, if your podcast was called
that's
Coffee Talk, people would probably send you more mugs too. But I did just do a little bit of a purge through and gave some away to an organization for people who are moving into the United States. And so and just need things. And so all of the ones that were not near and dear to my heart.
Right. It's funny how you do that, though, isn't it? You get, like, in the same way that you get a favorite, I don't know, favorite, we call them jumpers. I think you call them jerseys, or a favorite T-shirt, or favorite pair of shoes or something. You do, don't you? You tend to migrate to Oh, that's my favorite mug. There's just something about the shape of it and the feel of it. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you.
My favorites are usually that they hold more coffee because
Okay,
I
simple criteria.
almost never have more than one cup in a day, but it needs to be a big cup first thing in the morning.
Oh, okay. So in that sense, you're a professional in the amount of cups you've got or mugs you've got. I'm a pro in the amount that I consume.
And I thought you were going to say tea because I thought that's what all British people did was the
Do you know
tea
what? It's
drinking.
funny that because I actually genuinely don't know anybody else that drinks tea. I think that pivot happened during my lifetime. I think more or less
Mm,
everybody's gone over to coffee. I'll be
yeah.
so hammered on social for this because I bet everybody does actually drink tea. It's just nobody that I know. So that whole pinky finger thing, nah, nobody's
I'm
doing that
putting that out
anymore.
on social as soon as we get done recording this. Anyway, how did you get started with WordPress?
Okay, so I it really, like a lot of people, I think I began a long time ago with web, really when it was new, and I just saw that there was this opportunity to forge a new career, and I really was directionless. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and all of a sudden, computers were getting to in everybody's living room, and the internet came along, and so I started playing. With building things with HTML and CSS, and then the typical story. Then a friend said, "Will you do something for me?" And I said, "Okay." Then another friend, and then they told their friends, and so it went. And then I experimented with later other CMSs like Drupal and Magento and Joomla and all of those. And then finally, in about 2014 or 15, finally decided that WordPress was the thing, and I tried it out, loved it immediately. There were a few things that I didn't like as much as the other CMSs, but on balance, it was significantly more in tune with what I was doing. And I haven't used anything else since. Literally, that's all I've used to build websites. And really happy to have found the community. That was another peculiar thing. I genuinely didn't see that coming. I just saw it was a piece of software. And then I don't know, maybe a year after I started using it, got in a Facebook group or something like that, and discovered that there were people, human beings behind it, and many of them, much like you, have become friends, and it's really quite unusual. I didn't see that at all, and I've got no intention of moving away. I know that a lot of people are sort of caught up with SaaS apps and other platforms and things like that, but really, I think WordPress will be my bread and butter till I finally hang up my computer.
I'm trying to picture that now. So
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit awkward, isn't it?
it
It's,
is like,
yeah,
what is that?
yeah,
I would look
yeah.
different for a laptop
I'll
versus a
just switch it
PC.
off. I'll just turn it off and throw it away.
Oh my goodness. When you think of websites, whether you've made them or other people have made them, what do you think is something that we as designers, developers, web builders don't focus enough attention on that would make our sites better for our end users?
I was thinking about this when I initially read your series of questions, and I came up with this answer, which I'm not entirely satisfied with, because I think I could have gone in lots of different directions. But on balance, this is what I think, and that is that I think when the internet started, there was this promise that it was going to replace magazines. So, you'd go to the store and you'd buy a magazine and you'd open it up and you'd be diving into it, and it would just, in many cases, a lot of work was done on the design and it looked beautiful. And we tried to mimic that with online, and then discovered that really the two didn't work. Suddenly people were starting to use different size devices, and you had to reduce the width for certain screen sizes and, responsive and all that. But I would like to see really interesting designs come back round again, so that we went back to what we used to do in print. And I think advent of things like grid, which is a sort of layout technology,
Mhm.
will make that much more possible. And yeah, hopefully those kind of things. Again, I'm not there's lots of different things that I could have said around that, but I would like there to be more innovation in the way that things look, because I feel that things like page builders have bound us into these like
Mm,
horizontal rows, one row, another row, and it's getting a
right.
bit samey. Um, and I mean, they're great tools, don't get me wrong. I really enjoy using them, but it'd be nice to see some of those innovative designs. And actually, oddly, the WordPress Showcase, which is you Google it, just,
Hmm.
WordPress Showcase, Google it and go. They've just had a revamp of it. And they're displaying WordPress websites, which are innovative in many different ways. And one of the
Yeah.
criteria for getting on that website is that you're doing something innovative with design. So that's well worth looking at, because some of those are just great.
Yeah.
You look at them and I think, oh, I wish I'd done that. But as I've said many times, I have the design skills of a potato. So this has worked for somebody else, not for me.
Exactly. I agree, though. I think that we can do amazing things, and we've gone. When I think of like the first sites I built in, 2010, 2011, that kind of thing, or even earlier before I even knew about WordPress and I was using HTML and things like that. We tried to cram so much onto the page. It was like, like when you open a page in a magazine and it's just like there's so much text and there's so much pictures and that kind of thing. And then we've gone through this like minimalist phase of the internet where it's like white space, white space, we need more white space. And there's probably
Yeah.
somewhere in between that, right? That is like the perfect aesthetic for
I
whatever your
guess, I
site
guess,
is.
yeah, I guess the nice thing about the print layout is that the editor and the designer, they knew what everybody would be looking at, and
True.
so they could get it exactly right. And accessibility aside, because obviously you couldn't zoom in on the print or anything like that, so there's all
Mhm.
of those concerns. But you could get the design pixel perfect, and we really haven't had that. We've had collapsing by viewports and media queries
Mhm.
and all that kind of thing, and now we're into the era of, well, moving into the era of grid. I think people will be able to be much more flexible. So, if it's really wide, oh, let's go crazy and make it look like this. And then if it's normal width, but most people are looking at, okay, we'll make it look like that. And then if it's on a mobile, we'll do something entirely different, and it'll be
Yeah.
much more fluid and well, responsive is not really the word anymore. It's more intrinsic design.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be I think that's going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to the web being more exciting to look at.
I remember when responsive first became a thing because we nobody had smartphones up to that point, right? So it didn't
Yeah,
matter. It really didn't matter. If it was a laptop or a bigger screen, it pretty much operated the same way at that time. And Jetpack came out with a toggle where you could just go in and toggle and it would be a responsive. It didn't look
yeah,
anything like your website, but it presented in a
yeah.
responsive way. And all of my clients at the time that didn't want to pay for upgrades got that toggle turned on. And then they were like,
Just
why does
that
my
was that.
website look so terrible?
Yeah,
Because you
yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
pay, you don't want to pay for an upgrade.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember building a website for in a platform called Magento, which was an e-commerce platform, and that you literally had within the stack of files, you had a sorry, the directory structure. You had this
Hmm.
stack for the normal presentation, then you had all these other templates for what they called iPhone. It was just iPhone at the time, and everything went in there. And it was just minimal design, maybe some nod to the color of the website or something, but basically
Hmm.
the text would be presented, and that was it. But do you
Very
remember
cool.
Steve Jobs when he stood up and he introduced the iPhone, and there was that whole pinch to zoom thing, and he
Yeah.
demonstrated that I don't remember which website he was looking at, but he demonstrated
Yeah.
a newspaper or something, and the whole newspaper was on the tiny screen, and then he zoomed in and he pinched in, and everybody was, you can actually view a website on a phone for the first time. And of course, that's
Yeah.
such a poor experience, but that's all we had, and it was
Yep.
good enough in the time. And obviously, everything that we're doing now will be superseded and outdated. But for now, I'm looking forward to Grid.
I will tell you that, and I am not proud of this. It was as recent as last weekend that I tried to pinch open print media.
Yeah, I've done that.
I
Yeah, yeah,
was like, I need to
yeah,
see this bigger. Oh,
yeah,
shoot, it's
yeah.
paper. I cannot
I know, and that just
do
tells you
that.
how far you've come, right? You
Yeah.
are really, really everything is on a device now.
It
I no
is.
longer buy a newspaper. I used to be an absolute daily newspaper
Hmm.
purchaser. I have I do a similar sort of subscription thing, but it's online.
Hmm.
I consume
Yeah.
absolutely everything. Even the book has been replaced. I mean, I've got a few books above
Yeah.
my head, but I don't buy books anymore unless there's a compelling reason why I want it on my
Same.
lap or on my desk. It's all on
Yeah.
a e-reader of some kind. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
I
but it
buy I
works.
buy the book if I'm getting it autographed by the author because I really don't want them signing my phone.
Right. That's kind of weird. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What is something you wish you had known earlier in your WordPress journey that would have made life a lot easier?
Well, I think the answer to this is not, and I've alluded to it already. It's not really easier. It's just better. And that would have been the community. I wish I'd
Hmm.
discovered that. And actually, funnily enough, looking back, I discovered that there are similar communities surrounding the other CMSs that I was using at the time. So there's a Joomla community and there's a Drupal community. And I imagine they've all got their strengths, weaknesses, characters, interesting events that they throw on and all of that. But I wish I'd discovered that sooner, because it really has
Yeah.
brought a it's just brought some thing into my life. I can't quite parcel it up for you, but there's something that I can't quite capture, something really magical. I know, honestly, I know we drone on about the WordPress community all the time, but I am convinced there is something a bit weirdly good about it. And again, I can't encapsulate it. I can't quite tell you why that is, but there is something profoundly nice about I'm going to say everybody, like clearly that can't quite be the case, but everybody
Sure.
in the community.
Yeah.
There's just something interesting about people who want to dedicate their time to a project where they might not necessarily see a return on that investment, but they realize that playing it forwards is a good thing for humanity, and it's nice to be able to build tools that our children will be able to use and that people can use to spread their messages and have their voice online. And I
Right.
don't know what that thing is that's different about that intuition, but the people who have that intuition seem to be people that I get along with. That was a very verbose and wordy way of saying I like the community. I'm
You
sorry,
love
that
the
was long.
community.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Oh,
I love it. I know that you haven't been to as many WordCamps as me, and that's not a slam. It's just that I can see the badges hanging behind your head.
there's not so many. No, there's a few there, but not as many. Yours would be
I
like a
love it.
wall, right?
I'll send you a picture later. I think I counted the other day. I've been to about 60 WordCamps
Oh yeah,
since
that's a lot
2014.
more than
So
me. Yeah, this
yeah.
is not the full Monty. I think I've probably been to about 10 or 12, something
Oh,
like that. But
nice.
yeah, yeah.
So when you think back over those experiences, whether they were and even online experiences that we've had, through the lockdown and things like that, is there a pivotal moment or maybe a talk that you heard, something that really made a difference for you through one of those events or experiences that you can tell us about?
Yeah, and sorry to sound like a broken record, but it's I'm basically going to say the same thing. And it was arriving at the first WordCamp. Um, I won't give you the exact story, but basically, I thought to myself, well, let's give this thing a go. And I really had massive expectations that I'd get there to discover a room full of nerds that I wouldn't get along with. And that was fully what I thought. I thought, throw a coin in the air, 50% of the time it's going to come down. Room full of nerds, back away and go home. Or maybe on the other hand, there'll be something for me and I'll get into it. Anyway, within minutes, I was like, whoa, yeah, chatter, having a good old gossip with people and met
Hmm.
people immediately. And so it isn't one experience. It was that first WordCamp where I thought, boy, what have I been missing here all this time? And that just goes into everything that I do now. If you think about it, my whole thing, my job, if you like, is being a community member. Don't mean that to sound as grandiose as maybe it does, but you know what I mean. I
Yeah,
like
I
to
do.
connect people and push their stories
I mean,
out there, and
that's
so
my
I love
job
that.
too, so I'm okay
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, yeah. But it was that. So it wasn't a particular moment in time. It was just that first WordCamp that I
Yeah.
attended and discovered that there was like-minded people that I
I
enjoyed
found my
spending
people.
time with.
Yep.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Exactly. No, I 100% understand that. I went to my
Mm,
first word camp and then I was like, when's the next one? Where can I go? Like I'm like
yeah.
looking for and I was like, okay, there's another one in 2 months. I am there. And then the next year was WordCamp US, the very first one. And what do they say? The rest is history. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk at the moment about changing around the format of WordCamps and everything. And I'm sure that'll be good. I'm sure there'll be experimentation which will work. There'll probably be things which fall flat on their face and aren't that great. But I've just really, if nothing did change, I would still enjoy attending those events. But I understand that
Same.
maybe we've got to be mindful of the audience getting older and getting new younger people into the user base of
Hmm.
WordPress, and so things have got to change because it's just the nature of it. But
They
I
just do,
I
yeah.
would keep attending exactly what we've got forever if nothing did change.
Me
But
too.
I
That
get
does
the
make
need to
us
change. Yeah.
that does make us old.
Yeah,
But
we definitely fit into the older demographic, you and I, Michelle, I think.
I mean, it's the way it is. My hair would be gray also if I didn't color it purple. So, I wouldn't have needed the wig that I wore to be you if I had let my hair go
Oh,
natural.
yeah, I don't know if anybody knows that story, but Michelle once
I
dressed
think
up as
everybody knows
me,
that story.
which I literally, I think I spat out liquid. It was quite it was quite hysterical. I
It
doubled up when I
was
saw that.
one of the
It was
best
lovely.
things I've ever done in my
Oh,
life
it was
was
so nice.
surprising you that way. And then I
Yeah,
thought, I thought I
And
was going to outdo it this past year, and you were like, "Oh, what are you dressed as?" Like you had no clue.
I didn't that was kind of weird. I showed my children the picture of you dressed up, and my wife the picture of you dressed, and we had an equally enjoyable experience watching it over and over again.
On days that I'm sad, I pull out that video and I just
Yeah,
watched like that 2-minute clip
yeah,
on my phone, not gonna
yeah,
lie.
yeah. There's something infectious about laughing at people laughing, isn't there? And
It
man
really
alive,
is.
did I giggle.
That was fun. I will never be able to top that, but it was a lot of fun. So I gave you a title. I don't know what your actual title is because you didn't tell me, of Captain Cook and Bottle Washer of
That'll be it.
all things. I mean, there'd be worse things to be titled. Um, but you do a lot with WP Builds, and you also are podcasting over at the tavern. And I think about all of the stories that you look into and the people that you talk to every day. Tell us a little bit about what it is you love about what you do.
Oh, honestly, there are some, like any job, there are some days where you think, oh, maybe change it up and try something else. But the majority of the days, I, c- I don't know how lucky I am. It's ridiculous. I get to speak to these people who I like about a subject that I'm interested in, and I've always loved talking. Oh boy, you can ask my parents. There's quite a lot of stories where guests would show up and kind of asked to leave early. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but like, doesn't he
Just
talk a lot?
make him stop.
Yeah, exactly that kind of thing. And I just get to discover stories. People, communicate with me and email me directly and say, I've got this thing, can I talk to you about it? But in a lot of cases, I'm just looking at the WordPress news, all of the different websites out there, and I find things that I'm interested in and that pique my interest, and I contact them, and we get into an exchange, and invariably it turns out they're really nice people who've got something nice, to pitch or to sell or to just describe, and we get them on the show. And there's no real pattern to it. I don't have an exact workflow to work through. I just keep my eyes peeled, loiter in a lot of the Slack channels, loiter on a lot of the RSS feeds of these different publications, and then just cherry pick the things that I think people would be interested in. There's a bit of a treadmill process to that, in that because I do things weekly, I have to be fairly mindful to keep up with it.
Mhm.
And so there's that, but honestly, it's such a straightforward thing to do, and I really, really enjoy doing it. And again, given the industry that we're in, I'm thankful that it's an industry where uh, people tend to be nice, and I don't fall into conversations where there's falling out or there's an adversarial tint to it. It's just, okay, tell us what you got, let's talk about it, show me it, describe it, tell me what you're doing, that kind of thing. And so I'm thankful for that as well, because I don't like falling out with anybody, and
Oh, for sure.
and I don't have to in this. And I've completely lost sight of what it was that you asked me, but hopefully that
It's
satisfied
all good.
some
It
portion of
does.
it.
So you are mostly recording and editing what you're recording and putting that out there, especially for Tavern, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
This Week in WordPress is live. That's an hour and a
yeah,
half every
yeah.
Monday, with
Hey,
a few
you're the
exceptions.
co-host. Did you know that? Just so that you know, in case you'd forgotten.
I used to be a guest, but now I'm the
Yeah,
I'm
that's
the
right. You've
one of
been
the co-hosts.
promoted.
What I love about that show is sometimes you have people who have been on there before, they know exactly what's coming, and sometimes you have people on there who are like, you can just tell, like, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, yeah. There's a bit of that. I think you are going to get that when you go live, and basically to get on that show, there is a process of filling out a form. That's more or less it. I say you, not you, dear listener. You, as in Michelle. You do a lot of the spade work there, and finding people and putting them in my direction and pointing them towards that form. But it's a bit of a gamble. I mean, maybe one
Mhm.
day we'll get somebody on the show who literally refuses to open their mouth, but we haven't had it so far. Honestly, isn't it
No,
amazing? You just put the
yeah,
people there. Some of them express trepidation that it's going to be weird or strange or a nervous experience, but I think it's true to say, and you've done so many podcasts, you can probably attest to this. Once record button is pressed and they've realized that actually this is just a chat,
Yeah.
then they go with it, don't they? And some guests are more quiet than others, but we have quite a
For
few
sure.
people who love chatting, and it's great. It's great.
And I will say that although, most often it's 4 people on the screen for that show. And although they are people with opinions and they are people who are coming from all parts of the world and all parts of WordPress, I have never seen anything on that show become contentious. I've never seen, I mean, people have opinions and they'll voice their opinions, right, with one another in a conversation. But I've never seen, and maybe I missed that episode, but I've never actually seen anybody like, good thing they're not in the same room because it would have come to blows. Like nothing like that ever.
Yeah, I have no real understanding of let me begin that again. I have no real understanding as to how that has transpired, because it is fully live and somebody could come on and just use the opportunity to just blow their own trumpet unnecessarily and talk about their own products and really just drone on and on and on about them and the things that they do and slag other people off. But I don't know why. They just haven't. And I would be mindful of that. And if that were the case, I'd probably ask them, what are you doing? Let's I don't know, reevaluate this or something. But we haven't. And I'm very, very, very can I say the word proud? Is that too much? Okay, pleased. Let's go with pleased and proud. A bit of pride as well. I'm proud that that's the case, because I would love to look back when I am old and no, that sentence doesn't work because I already am old and grey. Older and greyer. There we go. And be able to know that I didn't cause a flame war or didn't cause a problem. I know that for some people online, that's their thing, right? That's how they do it, and that works for them, and it doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to do it.
I think it's because you've built a reputation of it being a safe space and a kind space for people to come and talk about the issues, as opposed to fighting with one another, right? You're not the Joe Rogan of WordPress podcasts, which is a good thing.
Oh, damn it. Well, that's very kind of you. If you've gained that intuition without me telling you it, then I'm pleased that that's the case, because like I say, I would like to do that. I sometimes speak to sponsors, because like anything, I have sponsors for the WP builds, not the tavern, I might add, but for the WP builds I do. And that's one of the things that I mention in the sponsor talk, where we're talking about what I think is WP builds all about. And I say that a bit. I labor that point, like, I'm not going to trounce your opposition because you've decided to become a sponsor. Quite the opposite. If your opposition has done something worthy of attention, well, they're going to get it because they deserve it. And that seems to be something that works. So yeah, I feel like I'm droning on about myself too much here. Sorry, Michelle.
I mean, it's an interview
about
you,
all right.
So it's all good.
It's so weird sitting on the other side, though, because normally it is me talking to other people about them, and there is some part of me which finds talking about me a little bit weird. Maybe that's the British.
It's like you just want to start asking me questions now, right?
I've got a whole list of them right here.
Save for another day, buddy. This is my show.
Yeah.
Well, let's move into the rapid fire questions. I tell people they're not really rapid. I don't know why I call them that. It's just that it just seemed like the right thing to say. But anyway, here are the rapid. Take as much time as you need to answer them. Okay.
Okay. I'll try and do them quickly, just for fun, if nothing else.
And I'm going to throw an extra one in there for you. I'm going to start with the extra one so I don't forget about it. So here's the extra one you didn't know was coming, but who is somebody that you would want to have on, let's say This Week in WordPress, because it is the live show, that has never come on the show before?
My wife.
Seriously?
That would be hysterical, because she knows nothing about WordPress at all. And it would just be really funny watching that happen. But in a more serious way, the This Week in WordPress show, I'd love to get Matt and Josepha on. That'd be nice.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be good, on the same episode at the same time.
Don't you work for Matt? I mean, couldn't you just ask him?
I could. I don't know. I feel maybe that. I don't know. I'll put a pin in that and give it some thought.
That would be fun. I definitely need to be the co-host, not guest, on that episode, so I can be there with you.
Yeah.
Make
Okay.
it
All right.
happen.
Well, yeah. We'll see if we can make that happen.
We'll see what we
That's
can do.
good.
We'll see how influential we can be. Okay,
Okay.
now on to the questions you do know are coming. What are 2 or 3 must-have plugins that you would recommend to somebody building their own website?
Okay, in the spirit of not putting my foot in it with sponsors and things like that, let's go at it like this. I think for me at least, since the advent of blocks, I've enjoyed playing with block suites. So you know who I'm talking about. There's a whole range of them. So obviously, in your case, you work for Cadence.
Mhm.
There's things like generate blocks and stackable. I find those to be quite entertaining, and obviously there's a lot of core blocks that I play with, but I do like the extra stuff that they can bring, so that they go in pretty quick on every
Yep.
install, and then I'm
Yes.
caught. The next one could be two, and I could go either way. But I think
Okay.
most websites to be useful need some form solution. So I'd
Mhm.
put a form in, and I think it's fair to say that you and I both know that we communicate a lot with Mark Westgard, and he
Yeah.
has a plugin called WS Form. Go Google it, and that's really very, very
Yeah.
credible form solution, and so that goes in a lot. But also some kind of custom field. Now I know that you can do that natively in WordPress, but I think some kind of custom field thing so that you can make the site a little bit more interesting than just
Mhm.
posts pages and things like that. So something like ACF,
Yeah.
for example, would be
Pods,
a
things
bit of a
like that.
win
Yeah.
for me. Yeah, Pods is another cracking
Mhm.
suite, and is free, in fact, like all the way free.
Right.
Although there is you can I can't remember what it's called, Pods something, where you can upgrade and get a little bit
Friends.
extra. But
Is it
the
the Friends
friends,
of
that's it,
Pods?
friends of Pods. Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
But 99.9% of it is just utterly free, whereas ACF is free a bit, and then there's a pro version as well.
Very good. Have you had a mentor at any point of your WordPress journey, whether it was an official mentor or somebody that either took you under their wing or somebody that you kind of aspired um, to learn from, whether it was official or not? And if so, who was it?
Yeah, can I answer twice for that?
Sure.
So the first one would be David Wormsley, who until very recently was the person that did the WP Builds podcast with me. I started watching YouTube tutorials that he was doing about Beaver Builder, and I just had this notion that, I want to be like David, but not YouTube, so more kind of like creating content. So I reached out to him, and we hit it off immediately, and we've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes together, and we've never once fallen out. So
That's
I
wonderful.
think that is a great person. And another
Mhm.
one who I hold in enormous regard is Dan Maybe,
Mhm.
who is the founder, and I know you deal with him probably a lot as well, of Big Orange Chart. You're the
Mhm.
chairman of the board over there, or is that right? Have I got the name right there?
Close enough.
Close enough. I'm sorry if I've messed that up.
It's just
And
it's president of the board here in the
Of
States.
course it would be, yeah. President of the board of Big Orange Heart, and I just think that
Mhm.
was just such a great thing to
Mhm.
put into the community, and so I have a lot of time for Dan, and we speak a lot. We speak on a weekly basis, and I'm very glad that we do.
He is also one of my favorite people. So
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The next question you can't answer with any of the names you've already given me, though.
Okay. Oh dear.
So I can't use David or Dan for this one. But who is someone
Okay.
you admire in the WordPress community and why?
Oh,
I know, I took your
okay.
big answers away. Now you gotta think of something
Yeah, yeah,
else.
no, no, no. I just, yeah. So the trouble that I'm having here is I don't want to. I'm struggling to promote people over other people, if you know what I mean, because I don't like doing the favorite thing. But okay, I'll give it a shot. Um,
I just didn't say
oh,
favorite. I said who is someone you admire.
okay, thank you. You've got me out of that. That's brilliant. Um, I like Bob Dunn, and I'm going to use two, and we've mentioned him, Mark Westgard. I think
Mm,
Mark Westgard, for his form solution, is doing a one-man army job of building, promoting, supporting an amazing product all by himself,
mhm.
and still managing to be a thoroughly decent person. So there's that. But Bob, just for the content that he's created over the years and the journey that he's got in 2024,
His
with the
empire.
network of podcasts that he's got, is looking pretty remarkable. So, and
It's
also they're both
impressive.
just thoroughly decent people. And it turns out, can sit and talk to Bob about nothing for hours. It's great.
He's pretty awesome. And I think
Yeah.
he's going to Asia too. So we'll be having,
Oh yeah.
as is
Yeah.
Mark. So we'll have our
Yeah.
little mini reunion when we're
Oh,
over there,
it's
which I'm looking forward to.
not gonna be clever.
I'll let you drive my scooter.
Yeah. Oh, yay. That's why I'm going, Michelle.
We'll leave it turned down to turtle for you. Um, if anybody doesn't know, Nathan kindly offered to park my scooter for me at a really nice restaurant we were at in the at WordCamp US in San Diego. And it has a tendency, if you don't know, when you push on the paddle, it goes very quickly. If it's
Yeah.
turned all the way up, literally the speed dial has turtle on one end and rabbit on the other. So when I say turtle and rabbit, it's actually what's printed on there. And so when somebody else is going to drive it, I quickly turn it down so that they don't, lunge forward and like knock over waiters and things like that. Well, I turned it all the way down. And Nathan is like, am I doing something wrong? As he's literally moving at a snail's pace. So I
It would have
still
made a
laugh.
kind of fun YouTube video, that wouldn't it? Because you could have, literally would have taken a minute to get past the table that we were on. It was
It
what
was
I
so
mean, it was like
slow.
a tenth of a quarter of a mile an hour or
Yeah, it
something,
was fun.
and it
Oh.
was funny.
And then when you introduced me on the product builders website or podcast that Katie Keith has with
Yes, I know the one.
Matt Cromwell.
Oh, oh yeah,
And
sorry.
you
Yeah.
refer to that, and when they brought me on screen, I was laughing so hard and tears coming down my face.
I
So
think I
anyway,
decided to do it in like this thick Yorkshire accent. Hello, I have a good friend whose name is Michelle Frechette,
yes,
or something
yes,
like that.
it was
Yeah,
wonderful. It
you
was
go.
perfect.
What's the point in not having fun in life? Eh? If
Oh,
you
I
can
agree.
seize the opportunities to make an absolute fool of yourself
Absolutely.
as often as possible.
Because why not? It makes people happy and it makes you laugh too.
Yeah,
So it's all good.
yeah, yeah.
What's like quickly switching gears here again? What's something that you want to learn in WordPress but that you haven't tackled yet?
Oh, okay. I'd love to build a block. I think that would be quite a nice
Hmm.
aspiration to be able to sort of code something up. So it's a long time since I got stuck into the code, and so that would be a nice thing to do. Nothing complicated, just something simple to explore that, but also to play much, much, much more with themes and the new
Mhm.
site editor and get up to speed with how all of that works, because I see that as being the future in WordPress. And so there's no excuse for me not knowing how to do it, but I need to make the time to do that more.
The WP builds block, whatever that will be.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I don't know what it'd be, just like a black hole, just an empty space or something, or just a picture of my head cut out like Bob carries around it.
I'll give you
Welcome.
when we go places. I love
Yeah.
that. That was fun. That was the other time you rode on my scooter and you weren't even there. Um, what is one of the biggest mistakes you've made in WordPress and what did you learn from it?
Oh, good grief. These are hard. Do you know what? They're not
Mm.
hard, but they are hard. Um, 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 oh, Michelle, I don't know. I don't really know the answers to that one. Can I put a pin in
No?
it and can we circle back and come back to that one?
We're not gonna come back to it. We're just gonna
Oh, okay.
skip it if you don't have an answer.
Let's skip that one. I don't know. I haven't got anything to hand. I'm sorry.
Oh, so you all heard it here. Nathan really makes no mistakes.
Ran out
Okay,
of things
moving
to
right,
say. Yeah, yeah. No,
moving right
oh no. Oh no. Did it come across like that? Oh, that's the last thing. Oh dear. Oh, I've just put my foot right into my mouth there, haven't I?
Oh, it's my show and I can make fun of it if I
Yeah,
want to.
that's right. It's great. Keep
Okay,
going.
so what's your proudest WordPress moment?
Oh, I think maybe okay, so it's to do with the stuff that I have created. I
Mhm.
think getting to where I am now, so no particular milestone, but let's say it was 100 episodes or 200 episodes or 300 episodes. And at some point during the course of this year, we'll get to 400 episodes of the podcast.
Mm.
And they
Mhm.
give me some level of pride. I made a big deal out of the first 100 episodes and I did this giant giveaway. I think we gave away about $25,000 of plugins and themes and all that sort of stuff. But honestly, that giveaway kept me going, like made me busy for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
Just getting the prizes out and figuring out who won what and all of that kind of stuff. So I've never done it again, but
I don't blame you.
that's right, yeah. But secretly, when I get to a 00, like 400, 300, I have a a nice beverage, put it that way.
A steak and an ale, perhaps.
That's right. Yeah, I do something special.
Good for
And
you,
it,
as
yeah,
you
so
should.
they're my proud moments, getting to those milestones and being thankful for the fact that that can happen.
Nice. I like that.
Hmm.
If you weren't working in web tech, any, your current roles, what's another career that you might like to attempt?
Oh, lion tamer, definitely. Uh, uh, oh no, not I'm not actually a lion tamer. I'd like to write a children's book. So
Ooh,
I'd like to be an author.
nice.
I'd probably write a silly book involving silly characters who do silly things because that's probably all I could do. I would love to do something artistic. Like, I mean, I've just, as you know, I've bought this new camera. I'd love to
Hmm.
pursue something like that. I've got no credentials to do it, but I would love to pursue something along those lines. So something like that. Yeah, I
I
think.
have no photographic credentials either. I have just the
No.
body of work that I've created, and that's all
But
you
isn't it
need.
fun? Yeah, if I could
Yes.
turn that into a career. But imagine though, if I could be an author and photographer and simultaneously lion tamer. If I could do all those three things rolled up into one unique
Hmm.
Nathan Wrigley kind of role, I'd be happy. I'd go to the grave happy and probably quite early because the lion would probably, see to that.
I don't title my episodes like you do for WP Builds, but I've had so
Yeah.
many ideas as we've been talking. If I were to do that, show us or tell us about a hidden talent that you have that the WordPress community might not be aware of.
I can do a weird thing with my tongue.
Oh,
Is that a
goodness.
thing? Can I?
Please show us.
Okay, so maybe everybody can do it, but I can do this. Look,
I cannot do that.
yeah. So I can make it like look like a clover, and I like as a school kid, I would
Hmm.
occasionally do it, and everybody in the playground would go, "Oh, that's weird. Put that away. That's horrible." And then there was this TV show called That's Life when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
If you're as old as I am, you might remember it. And at the end of every show, they would bring somebody on and they would ask them that question that you just asked me: "Do your weird thing." And a lady came on and did that, and I said, "That's not weird. Everybody
I
can
could
do
do
that."
it too.
Turns out that it's like a one in a million.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I know, so I can do a weird thing with my tongue. I bet you weren't expecting that.
I was not expecting that. And you are the first person to ever show me a weird thing with their tongue on my
Okay.
podcast. So there you go. You get the award for one of the weirdest. All I said was hidden talent. I did not say weirdest, but you showed through for both of those things, which
Oh,
is
thank you. That's good. Yeah. Like I said earlier, if you're not prepared to make fun of yourself and be an idiot, then
absolutely.
Mhm.
Life is too short not to.
That's right.
How can people find you online, whether it's on social or your website, please?
Just Google or whatever search engine you use. WP Builds is probably the easiest way to do it. That'll find you, and then you can use contact forms or Twitter X, whatever it's called. But I'm enjoying Mastodon, and I have a Mastodon instance. It's wpbuilds.social, and I am Nathan there. So it's wpbuilds.social/@Nathan. It's a bit clunky the way they do things, but yeah, that's probably where I will be hanging out.
Fantastic. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with us today?
Well, I mean, I could tell you about my lumbago or my back pain or the, verrucas that I've had and things like that. But no, I don't think anybody needs to know about that. I have nothing to add. I think you've managed to expunge from me as many humiliating things as I'm prepared to give out in the space of an hour.
Fantastic. Well, if you are listening to this episode and you don't want to go to the Googles for all of the things, just go to our website, WPCoffeeTalk.com, look for Nathan's episode, and I will have those links for you in the show notes, along with the transcript of today's episode. So
Good.
thank you so much, Nathan, for being with me today and letting me be the one who asks you questions for a
Oh,
change.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You do it significantly better than I do. I appreciate it.
I think I just do it differently, that's all. Anyway, thanks for being here. We'll see everybody else on the next episode of WP Coffee Talk.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of WP Coffee Talk.
Please share it with others who you know would enjoy hearing from the people who make the WordPress community the wonderful place that it is. If you are interested in joining us as a guest or a sponsor, please visit our site at WPCoffeeTalk.com.